All right, welcome to this edition of the Loud and Devoted podcast. This is the 12th hour episode. My name is NativeSeahawk, and with me, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Vega Sailor cosplay. Your Seattle Seahawk, I guess.
Yeah,
Sorry,
she is our She-Hawk. Go ahead.
sorry, my camera doesn't seem to be working today. I didn't put a new virus protection software on my thing, so maybe that's messing it up. But it was working a minute ago, and of course, once we go live, the technology decided, nah, I'm not gonna. But
Well,
still
let's
gonna be here in spirit.
let's hope that these technical difficulties end with us, so it's not like in Detroit where the Seahawks have a humongous hill to climb.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
absorb all the bad juju.
yeah, exactly. Let's hope that's the case. But yeah, today Seattle, we went all the way to Detroit, and of course the Seahawks are 4 point dogs, 4 point underdogs today, and which is kind of interesting. We'll talk about the defense in a minute, but the over under is 46.5 points, which isn't that. I mean, it's more than any other game that we've played this year so far. I believe the Dolphins game I think was 42 or 44. So the guys and gals in the other desert, because I'm in Palm Springs desert, out there in Las Vegas, believe this is going to be a bit higher scoring game. We'll get into the score predictions in a minute. But again, what are your which players are you looking forward to seeing do well or improve today?
I think the biggest one I really want to see an improvement on is going to be Bradford on the offensive line. I mean, if he can just at least just by minimizing the penalties alone, he'll help us out a lot.
Yeah,
That's the big one.
yeah, I'm agree with you on that. I think the other player, of course, Seattle's defense is going to be pretty much reliant on its linebacking and
Hmm.
its secondary to do better today than it's ever done. So I'm just going to put the whole back seven of the defense. I'm going to see needing
That's
improvement.
the biggest question mark I'd say today is going to be the defense because let's see, 6 of the 7 front 7 are injured and like 4 or 5 of them are out, including Boya Mafe, Big Cat, and Byron Murphy, and there was one other guy in my brain slipping. Uh
Well, Nwasu's out
Noasu, of
again.
course. Yeah, and then and even
Yeah.
guys who are out are injured, like Baker and Dodson. So yeah, that's not it's not good. So I can kind of understand us being underdogs today, and the Lions are actually a good team, even though they have injuries of their own. They're still a good team. They're especially with we've got David Montgomery. This is the type of guy who'll just run through your, as they say, run through your motherfucking face.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the Lions inactives. They've got their center is ruled out. Ragno, who's of course a really good. He's an all-star
He's really
center.
good.
Wide
Yeah,
receiver Isaiah Williams, left tackle Manu, and then safety Brian Branch is listed as
yeah.
doubtful. So yeah, you're right. There's a few folks on their side that but not nearly as impactful as Jerome Baker, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Mafe, and Nawasu are all
Hmm.
out for the
Yeah.
game, and even backup
Oof.
offensive tackle Jarrell, who and Lamia, who are I guess definitely both rookies. Could have been awesome to have those guys sort of next man up on that offensive line. They're going to be gone.
That would have been nice.
I mean, yeah. Imagine if we were fully healthy against this Lions
Oh god.
team,
If
and
Byron Murphy and Big Cat
yeah,
were there alone with Ragnow out, they'd be feasting.
yeah, exactly. And this is going to be the very first game of the season where the Seahawks defense is playing against an established quarterback.
Right.
Which again, if we were fully healthy on the defense, now we really can't tell how good this defense is unless the backups come in and just
And
completely
wreak havoc.
control Goff.
Yeah. I think a bigger person they're going to have to control is the 2 running backs. They got Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery. David Montgomery was the bet and walk for against the Rams because he's the one that just plowed right through them in the OT. That basically won the game for the Lions. As you know, I
Yeah,
was paying
yeah,
careful attention because he's on my fantasy team. But Don't tell anybody that.
So originally, I yesterday I kind of teased it on my Twitter account that it was going to be like a high scoring game, and I don't know if I agree with it. I'll talk a second about who I think or why I think it's going to be lower than 46.5 points over under. The second question is, what are some question marks you have after the Dolphins win coming into this game in Detroit?
You know, I think I'm sorry, repeat the question. Hold on.
Yeah, what are some question marks? Like for me, against the Dolphins, I mean, the Dolphins, we were again trying to figure out the offensive
Question mark
line.
after the Dolphins win.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this week? What are some more question marks you have coming into this game?
Well, as I mentioned before, the defense because of all the injuries. But I would also say the offensive line, just like, oh, there were so many times when if Gino just had like a half a second longer, it'd be something big. So it was, yeah. Especially again, can the guys not cause so many holding penalties that I swear there were in that game several of our drives, the very first thing we get up there, 1st and 10, holding. Now it's 1st and 20, like on 3 different drives back to back to back. That's going to be a huge factor in this game. Can we reduce the
Yeah,
penalties?
yeah. For me, it is going to come back to the offensive line because again, the offensive line when that thing is clicking, you look at what happened in the first quarter against the Dolphins. They scored, and all of a sudden they went dry second and third quarters, and then finally in the fourth quarter they were able to gel back together again and
Right.
close out that win. And so again, I was at the game against Miami. Man, that second and third quarter was one of the most boring
Yeah.
offensive games I've seen in Seattle in a
But you
long
notice that's
time.
when all the penalties kicked up, not just for us, but the
Penalties,
Dolphins. Oh my god, do you see
yeah,
how many penalties on just the what was it? There were 32 penalties in that game between the two teams. 10 of them were rejected, and then there was 22. Like what there were 4 penalties back to back to back on that one. I don't know what was a punt or a kickoff on the Dolphins. That was I'm a
yeah,
Seahawks fan. I was saying, okay, give the Dolphins a break, guys. Calm the fuck down.
yeah, yeah.
You
So we got to
burned
clean up
yourself
the
in this game after a pretty good first quarter, and then now it's
yeah.
boring again.
Yeah, you definitely got to clean up the penalties, and then half of those it's out of our control. I think
Right.
you could call a penalty on every single play, but yeah, you got to do your part to clean that up. But
Hmm.
again, the other question mark I have, of course, and I said that alluded to earlier about this defense. We really don't know what Coach Mike Mack has done with this defense yet, really. And I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say that to impugn the fact that we're in top 5 and all these rankings on all these different categories on defense, but you haven't played an established quarterback yet, and that makes the whole difference in this
Huge
in
difference.
this season so far. And when you got Jared Goff, and I hate Jared Goff. I hated him when he was in with the Rams, and but Seattle, some reason has had his number for quite a few games now. And
Yeah.
so again, the other thing I'm really hoping for as a question mark is, can Mike Mack, again, he was undefeated last season against the NFC, and can he go against an NFC team? I believe this is the first NFC team we played this season, right? We had the Broncos, the Patriots, the Dolphins,
Right.
all wins, but now we're going up against the NFC, and this is another question mark. Can that defense, really do what it can to limit Goff, limit Brown? I'm not saying Brown is so good, and then you
He's
got
so good.
Gibbs. The running back is solid. What I think, if you're the Lions, what I think you're going to do today, because you're missing on Seahawks defense, basically the whole defensive line, you're going to have them running down the throats of Seattle. I think you're
Yeah.
going to see a lot of Gibbs. You're going to see a lot of
Montgomery.
Montgomery, and
I
it's
think
going
that's
to be,
exactly what they're going to do.
yeah. And so then you have again, comes back down to the back 7, the linebackers, the defensive backs, the safeties. I'm wondering if Seattle tries to employ a 3 down lineman and the rest of them, kind of a big nickel for most of this game, just to try to limit the Lions, because they know that they're down so many starting defensive line. You would think that they would adjust by putting in, way more linebacker, or excuse me, way more cornerbacks. So you've got, of course, Witherspoon, you got Cody Bryant. You have all these really awesome studs as sort of backups to the safeties and cornerbacks. Maybe you start putting them in a little bit more against this Lions offense.
Yeah, definitely as a blitz package or as kind of a little kind of safety net if, Gibbs or Montgomery get past the main line and then be that safety net for the back to make sure they don't take off to the end zone. No, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, because the other part of this is Seattle is because you don't have your top defensive pressure guys. You don't have Mafe in there. You don't have, like you said, Big Cat, Leonard Williams coming up the middle, or even our stud rookie. You're gonna have to figure out where's the pressure is gonna come from if it's
And
not
if we
them.
know that, I'm sorry. And if we know that they're all out, the Lions know that, so they're probably going to have the game plan of just, like you said, running it down our throats because they know our front seven's going to be made primarily of backups. So we got to have that.
Yeah.
Just give our front seven some extra help up there in the back end. But
'Cause I
also, then
think
we have to be careful. But then we have to be careful because if they don't run it and they do decide to throw it, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown out there lurking to catch something for a big thing. So yeah, it's kind of that.
So
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
yeah. So again, that's the question mark. Again, how do they adjust? We got to see how Seattle adjusted in the second half against the Dolphins, which was a great. I'm glad that we've got a coaching staff that knows how to do that. Pete Carroll did that. Him and his teams used to do that the first, 4 or 5 years of his tenure in Seattle. But then it sort of ended. He stopped doing that the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, well, we have this game plan. We're going to stick with it the whole time, even though it's clearly not working. And I hated that. It's like, guys, running it up the middle is not working. Let's try something different. You throw to your running back or something.
So I think if you're Mike Mack, you're going to have to figure out how to. And then here's the other thing: if you're on offense, and if you've got a depleted defense like we do, I wonder again, and it's going to come to the next question here. Predicting the score. This is the last question before we call it a night before kickoffs in about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a depleted defense, then I wonder if Seattle's offensive game plan then is to limit the amount of passing plays and do what you think the Lions are going to do against you and run the ball and run it and run it and run it and try to soak up a lot of the time of possession to keep that depleted defense on the bench.
One of the things they can definitely employ is, one good thing about this week is it looks like Kenneth Walker's finally back. So we can employ the 3-headed dragon of K9, K-Mac, and Charbonnet, and just again, let's run it down their throats like they do it. But the problem is we've got Aiden Hutchinson. But here's the thing. Also, the other option is short passing offense. Dump it off to JSN or your tight ends or to Jake Bobo for a short game, 5 yards, 5 yards here, 4 yards there, and move the chains. You don't have to set up a big long play to DK Metcalf. I mean, if you can do that, great. But with a guy like Aiden Hutchinson around here in our weak offensive line, let's just focus on the short yardage. Keep that defense on the field. Tire them out. A 70-yard run by DK is great, but it's also a quick. You're not allowing your defense time to rest, and you're not wearing them out that much. So I would say to focus on the run it down their throat with your 3 running backs and then short passing offense just to move the chains. Death by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 small cuts.
Yeah. I still think you're going to see
later.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think you're going to see, run, little pass, run, little pass, run, and then deep ball to lock it. Kind of those short, like you're saying, short, run, short, deep.
Work for Joe Montana.
Yeah, exactly. So originally I thought it was going to be a 37-34 Seahawks win. And again, that's a lot of points I thought was going to be scored. But based on what I just said, I'm going to go smaller. But predict the score? What do you think is going to happen tonight?
I don't know. The last few times these two teams have met have been barn burners. I mean, our defense wasn't that great last year. And we seem to have the Lions number. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning to something smaller, maybe like, because last time they both put up 40 points, but so I'm maybe leaning into the 30s. I'm gonna say 38-30 Seahawks.
38-30, so 68 points. Woo!
Yeah.
Between the two. Okay.
We got
38-30,
Goff
that's
and Geno
Vega.
Smith.
That's Vega's prediction. So I think, based on what I'm just got done saying, I'm going to go low scoring, and I'm going to go back to a 23-20 Seahawks win. So 43 points, so under the 46.5 that Vegas has. And yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring, but I feel like every time I've chosen the high scores, I've been pretty close.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. All right. Any last words before we duck out of here and put it on Monday Night Football?
I'm still mad at Brandon Perna and his curse wheel. The Seahawks ended up on it, and then 2 days later, our injury report with our 4 guys out came up. So I think and then the Eagles and the Saints just lost, and they were on the curse wheel too. So I'm a little scared.
Okay.
Yeah, but go Hawks. Maybe we can defeat the curse wheel.
Yeah, I mean, maybe maybe we're homers, and maybe we think we're gonna win, and maybe we feel like we're gonna
we win.
We do hope, but man, I just have a feeling this game it could go either way. It could be a tremendous Lions blowout,
just with all the injuries to our defense. I can't believe it.
It could be a tremendous Lions blowout or a Seahawks win by a field goal, one of the two.
I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be one of the two. There is no in between. But go Hawks anyway. I think we're kind of used to this being the underdogs and pulling it out when people think we couldn't. So it's kind of our.
Now I'm going to say it. I think if Seattle wins by 3, we're going to have to play almost perfect offense. I hate to say it. We're going to have to. No turnovers.
Come on, Bradford. I believe in you. No holding.
No fumbles. No holding. Yeah, exactly. Come on, Bradford. We'll be watching him.
Yeah.
In that inside line that we have. So, all right. We'll be back again on Tuesday for Receipt Tuesday to see how we did.
Let's do it.
And we'll come back and show the receipts on Tuesday on the Loud and Devoted. What's your name?
Vega Sailor Cosplay. Also, your Seattle Seahawk.
And the Seattle Seahawk, yes. I'm your Seattle shithead. Just kidding. I'm Native Seahawk. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.